Hello everybody. Welcome to Creating the Basic Adaptable Game Engine Library, Part 59, Plane Dodger, Simulating Gravity. In the previous videos, we've discussed how the game Plane Dodger will work. It's an infinite side-scrolling game inspired by the smartphone game Flappy Bird. In the previous video, we set up the infinite scrolling background effect, and now it's time to add the player character. This will be an airplane, which will look like it's moving to the right because of the scrolling background, but in truth it's going to be locked to the same X position. However, the player will be able to control the height of the plane. Gravity will appear to be pulling the plane down to Earth continuously, while at the same time, the player can tap a key and give the plane a little boost of upward speed. So we're going to set that up in this video. To begin, let's start up our development environment. So here we are in the Plane Dodger game, and now it's time to add the player. Let me call this public sprite player. And for the player, I want to use the image of, this is a green plane. So this plane is facing to the right. And that's important because the plane should face in the direction it appears to travel. All right, so to begin, let's see. Very similar code. All right, player will be a new sprite. Let's set up a texture called player text equals a new texture from images plane-green.png. All right, next I want to go ahead and set the texture of the player. So player.setTexture to be equal to player text. And we'll say player.setPosition. I want this to be on the left-hand side of the screen. So maybe let's try, I don't know, maybe 80 for X. And for Y, let's start it kind of high up on the screen. Remember, 0, 0 is the top left corner. Maybe I'll do 80 for the Y coordinate as well. Let's also say player.setPhysics to be a new physics object. Let's see, acceleration. Let's set that to maybe 50. We're going to have to tweak that value a lot later. Let's see, the maximum speed maybe 300 and no real deceleration. But we'll simulate gravity by applying acceleration going down, but we don't want it to slow down at any point. All right, we've set the physics. We won't set a speed or motion angle, but we will go ahead and add the player to the main group so it renders all right. Okay, let's go ahead and run this now. Even though it's not interactive yet, this will at least show us if the plane's positioned in the correct place. Yep, sure enough, there it is, right up there. And that appears to be far enough from the left-hand side, right? We're placing it along the left rather than the center, so the player has more reaction time as objects travel from the right to the left. And the next step is going to be to make that thing fall down. So let's go ahead and say player dot, we're going to use accelerate at angle. So we're using the acceleration value stored here. We want to accelerate it down. Oh, and that's player.physics, accelerated angle. Downwards is an angle of 90 degrees. Right, so that should just pull the player straight down. Let's go ahead and run this game. And hopefully we'll see a plane just falling down. Yep. It's going down slowly at first, then faster and faster. And now it's gone forever. Right, I think I want to speed it up a bit. Right, let's increase the acceleration to 100 and maybe the maximum speed to, I don't know if this matters because I don't think it'll ever get up to maximum speed, maybe 600. And so it could fall pretty fast. And this is where the tweaking of the values comes in. All right, we want it to fall fast, not too fast, but fast enough. That appears a little bit better. What happens if we make it even larger? Let's try 150. I don't want it to fall too quickly, but quickly enough. And so the more we increase the acceleration, kind of the heavier it's going to feel. And we do want the acceleration to be enough that the plane, we have some control over the plane, so it's going to be able to dodge objects. All right, next I want to go ahead and set up some kind of player controls. And this is going to be pretty simple. And so we're going to check if input key just pressed. And then we have to add the name of the key. And I traditionally like to use the spacebar key. All right, so if this key was just pressed, then I want to give the plane a little bit of a boost. Right? So I want to set the speed and have it moving upwards. And so let's say two things. So first, player.physics.setSpeed. Now we want it moving up for a while, so a good burst of speed, maybe 600, and then player.physics.setMotionAngle. So going against gravity, that'll be an angle of 270 degrees. Right? And immediately after this is applied, it might seem like a lot, but right here, by accelerating it downwards, we're simulating gravity that'll immediately start pulling it down. And again, this will take a couple of runs until we can adjust these numbers and get kind of the right feel. Let's see how this looks. And so it's going down. I push the spacebar key. I'm not sure if that's space all lowercase. Maybe that's space capitals. Let's try that. So running the game again. Yep. Oh, that was quite the burst of speed. 600 is too much. So I definitely want to, oh, and there it comes down. Eventually gravity will always bring it back down. 600, far too much. Let me just make that 100. Let's give it a little hop. Right? I'm a big fan of making huge adjustments in these values. Right? I don't want to lower it by something small like just 10 or 20 units each time. Then it would take a lot of test cases. It's falling down, I push space, up, gets a little boost of speed. Right? And a lot of this is going to be up to you as well. Right? I'd have to really, mash that space bar to get it to go up fast. And maybe that's the kind of gameplay experience you want. Right? So it feels like you're getting a lot of control, right? You can get it to get exactly to the height you want. And then it is very floaty. It flows down pretty quick. I want to make it move a little bit more. Right? Part of the appeal, I think, of Flappy Bird was you don't have perfect control over that game. Right? And also, let's increase the acceleration due to gravity. Right? So we're increasing that number. We're also increasing this number. Let's give that one more run. So it's going to be falling down pretty fast. Just give it a little tap. Yep, and that tap kind of sends it pretty far up. And so just tap, tap. And so we've got a moderate amount of control. So I think that's pretty good. So that'll be it for setting up the player. And that's how you simulate gravity. Just accelerate it at a downwards angle. And again, the force of gravity in this case is kind of set here. You could also just say use the accelerate function and put in a different value of gravity rather than relying on this value, but I like to use the built-in functions whenever possible. All right, so we've set up the plane. That's probably enough for this video. In the next video, we'll start adding interactive features to the game to give the plane something to do. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.